Good morning everybody, it's Ashley here from Paper&Twine. This video has been doomed. This is the second time I'm recording this now and I'm really hoping it's working. I was happily filming away and crafting and I looked up at my monitor and realised that I wasn't actually recording, and it cut off after 6 minutes and 40 seconds or something, and I played that back and there was no audio, so I'm really hoping that this works. Anyway, today I'm going to share with you a couple of projects I want to make using the free gifts from Creative Stamping issue 144. We're going to have a really quick look at what's inside and then I'll share with you what the free gifts are and what we're going to do. So as always, I am so sad I didn't get asked to do any designing for this particular feature, but hey ho, as always you get a welcome from Nikki, the editor. Just going to bring you down a little bit. Yes, you can't really see very well, can you? It's very difficult to get a whole magazine in shot and still look nice, if that makes sense. Nikki, I know, I follow her on Facebook, has been doing loads of crochet, and she's doing loads and loads of brilliant crochet stuff. Anyway, yes, I looked to see if there's anybody I know in the design team this month, and there isn't actually. It seems to be actually that they use a stable of designers in every publication that Practical Publishing do, and obviously they're using a lot of the new winners. So if you're new to my channel, I was a winner of Card Maker of the Year, which is a competition organised by Practical Publishing. I was one of the winners in 2021, and I have been very fortunate that I've done a lot of features. The only magazine I haven't done anything for is Simply Die Cutting or Die Cutting Essentials, whatever it's called, because die cutting's not my bag. But I have done loads for Creative Stamping in the past. I've done loads for Simply Cards and Papercraft. I've done the Craft Essential series boxes. I've done Papercraft Society. So, you know, I've had my fair share of commissions. I shouldn't what's the word I'm looking for? Moan. But yeah, I can't see anybody that know in this month. But it seems that they use editors from other magazines, and they've got a stable of designers like, let me have a look, Sarah Jackman Reed and Tracy Rogers. They get a lot of commissions. Anyway, really quick flick through. Simply Glass whiteboards, £54 to £99. That's a lot of money for a glass board, isn't it? Even if it is magnetic. Yeah, so just very quickly looking through, because I don't want to get lots of ideas. You do, I believe, get a link to some downloadable papers with this issue that complement the free gift really nicely. Nice to see a gentleman designing, Liam Goodman. He probably works for Crafter's Companion. This is a jungle themed collection. Nice use of stamping and die cutting there. Benefits of joining the Craft Stash VIP membership. Are any of you members of that? I think my danger would be that if I was, it would just encourage me to spend more money, and I really do not need any more stuff. I need to have a massive declutter. I'm still here. It's getting on for 2 years since my craft dream refurb, and I've still got loads of stuff to get rid of. Here is Sarah Jackman Reed. I really like her style. I think we've got quite a similar style. I think she's used a background paper here from the collection. Might see if I can find those. Crafty Witches, I don't know anything about. Do you? Yes. I'm not going to flick all the way through it, particularly as there's nobody that I know in it. That's quite cute. Monster Mash from Woodware, designed by Francois Reed. Yeah, and Woodware are really, what's the word I'm looking for? Good value for money. Yes, here's Tracy Rogers. There was something that I saw on my previous flick through actually that I did. Oh yes, this. Now, I'm going to make today my art club page for the Woolly Steph, #WoollySteph Art Club, and I'm also going to make a card for Amber's Kintyre Crafts. I've done the card for her challenge, but I just want a cover card to go with it, and it's really interesting that in this issue there is a feature on Relatively Thoughtful. I was a guest designer for them back in 2021, 2022 for a really short period of time. They had a really limited collection at that time. But since then they've expanded. I know they've got an Alice in Wonderland collection, and I really like the look of this Sherlock Holmes collection. So I think it is a download. Yeah, I don't think it's a physical kit. I think they're all digital downloads, but I really like the look of this Sherlock kit. And Amber is on the design team for them. Anyway, let's put this to one side because I've been whittling on already. And I really hope this is recording, because otherwise I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit in a corner and cry. Let's show you the collection. So crafty individuals I love. And you've got this gorgeous kind of botanical collection, birds, feathers, clocks, hourglasses, a bit steampunky maybe. You've got some sentiments, like definitions, dictionary definitions. I like those. There's a really lovely sentiment here. Time has a wonderful way of showing us what really matters. Love that. Love the bird. We're gonna maybe use the bird today. We've got generic coffee ring, splatters, splodges, and we've got some stars, which I've already got mounted on a block. On top of that, if that is not enough, you also get a multi-purpose stencil. You've got 2 stencils on one A5 sheet here. We're going to be using that today as well. So I've cut from an A5 sheet of watercolour cardstock, a 4x4 inch square for my background, for my art club page. And then this is what I'm going to use to create a card front for Amber's card, which is going to go on this 5x7. It's just doesn't fit perfectly all the way around, so a little tip: I make sure that when I come to glue this on, I will leave an equal border at the top and the sides, and you've got a slightly bigger border at the bottom. That is what I like to do. I'm really not in shot. I'm just going to pause you and just make sure that this has recorded thus far. Fingers crossed we are okay. The first bit has recorded and we do have sound. So I'm using a minimal colour palette for both of these designs. I'm going to do a different colour palette just to show you the way that you can get a different look using the same materials but switching up the colours. And we're going to do some tone on tone stamping. And if you don't know about the Woolly Steph Art Club, I will leave a link to the playlist in the description box if I can, or put a card up here. And I forget what I was going to say. I'm distracted by a bird on the bird feeder, which is not very professional, is it? Yes. But the prompt for this month was rubber stamp. So that's why I'm coming ahead and stamping. But I'm just going to go over, for any of you that might be new to my channel, how I like to go about doing my backgrounds. And we're going to work on 2 at a time. So on this one, I want to do kind of a fairly neutrally palette. I've chosen tea dye, antique linen and pumice stone, and I don't have a bigger square acrylic block than this, and I don't want to do kind of like a rectangle, although actually I suppose I could, and just kind of yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, I am going to be on the lookout for a slightly bigger acrylic block. I'm going to just swipe randomly. So that was a bit of antique linen, a bit of pumice stone. Used to use pumice stone all the time, and I haven't used it a lot recently. And then a little bit of tea dye, just for a bit of warmth. Can you see? There's not a lot of ink on there. Let me bring it up for you. Can you see? And then I'm going to use just a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer Pixie Powder in Rich Gold, because I want a little bit of sparkle on this. Just tapping a little bit on. There we go. And then I'm going to spray with water quite heavily, because I'm not going for a speckled look with this, just spraying off camera. I want more of a watercolour wash look. That's what I'm going for. And by mixing the colours on my block, I will get new colours. I like to, and I've got a lot of water, turn my acrylic block over some kitchen paper in case I splodge. So I'm going to kind of come in here and here and here. Just let that run a little bit. Wipe. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit more tea dye, because I think this is going to be, oh, and a bit more antique linen actually. I'm going to choose one of these colours that's going to be my predominant colour, and I think it's going to be tea dye, or it might be, yeah, it's going to be tea dye. A bit more spraying with water. I'm just going to mop this with a bit of kitchen paper, and you can see we've got a really subtle background going on there. And a few more splodges, but we've also got some white space around the outside, which is what I want. Just going to set that aside while I work on this one. Now I need my big acrylic block for this, and I'm going to use Cosmic Shimmer Pixie Powder again, and just one colour. I'm going to use two, but I've got Kitsch Flamingo and I've got Picked Raspberry. I want it to be predominantly Kitsch Flamingo, so I've got quite a lot going on there. A little bit of Picked Raspberry. And then I've got this Mango Glaze Cosmic Shimmer Pixie Powder, which is a yellowy colour. And I like that, where the yellow and the pink mix. You've got kind of like a little bit of an orange going on there. So I'm just going to spray off water, and you can see how that has activated all of that colour. When I have splodged there, but never mind, I'm going to make it work. Where is my kitchen paper when I need it? There, look, you can hardly see that, but I've got a lovely kind of gentle watercolour background going on there. I'm going to bring this way a bit. I don't know why I can't get in shot. It's very disturbing. That's a bit better, isn't it? And I'm just going to mop up. I've got a splodge there, but you know, I don't really mind. Creating a bit of texture by using the kitchen paper, and a bit more splodging and a bit more ink on there. And I'm going to just go back in with a little bit more pink over that. Spray with water. Just checking I'm still recording. There we go. And I've got a really nice effect going on there. So what I want to do now, got the fight of the big birds on the tree. I've got a huge carrion crow or raven and a magpie. Yes, they've frightened the little birds off. I don't need those Cosmic Shimmer Pixie Powders anymore. What I'm going to do next is come in with the stencil. Now, obviously this stencil has got the odd letter on it and some numerals, so I can't use it to its best by turning it over and using it one way and then the other. But we're going to come in with the pink brush first, and I don't know how much is on my brush, but I don't want a lot of what's the word I'm looking for, a lot of colour. I just want a little bit of detail, so I'm just going to lightly go up here in this corner with this little bit. I've got just a very tiny suggestion there. I'm going to reverse, throwing it at you. I'm going to reverse that down this corner here, going a little bit heavier. And I've got a little bit of the clock going on there as well. Just mop that splodge up. And then I want a little bit more, I've got it upside down there actually, but it doesn't matter. Let's put it the right way up. I do like the cogs, and I want to get a little bit of the numeral and the cog, but just very faintly. I can always go in and add more. Look, you see, I was applying hardly any pressure. And I think that might be all I want to do with that. Maybe a little bit of this here, just to balance it. I like that. That's all I'm going to do with that stencil on there. Now, I should ideally, in an ideal world, clean this. Could do with another piece of kitchen paper, but it will have to be what it is. And because this is watercolour card, it's taking the moisture really well. Because this is smaller, I think I might come in with some of these smaller bits down here. Got no idea what is on here. Let's have a little bit of, we said we were going to go tea dye as our main colour, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to do pumice stone. Just loading up the brush with colour and taking some off. These brushes could do with a clean. Am I still recording? Yes, I am. Am I in shot? Vaguely. And yeah, just very lightly. And if you've got these type of stencil brushes or blending brushes, if you hold it by the head, it just gives you a bit more control. And I can see I just want a little bit more colour. I like that there. And because I've got pink on it, it has kind of contaminated the colour a bit. But, you know, as Tim Holtz would say, don't freak you. Freak, it is what it is. Just a little bit there. I quite like that. And then I do want a bit of the clock and cog. So I'm going to come in up here in this top corner, applying a little bit more pressure as I'm going over the watercoloured bit and the white bit. So that is that. I like that very much. In retrospect, I may be a little bit heavy-handed with that colour, but I don't need stencil or my brushes anymore, so they can go out of the way. I'm going to have a slurp of tea, second cup of tea of the day. Gosh, there's a parliament of crows. No, it's a parliament of owls, isn't it? I don't know what they call a collective noun of crows, but there's, well, I say there's loads. There's two very likely looking lads on the lawn. On the grass at the front. Okay, so now I want to do some stenciling. No, I've done stenciling. I want to do some stamping. So I'm going to do on this one first. So this is all about using minimal colours and tone on tone. And when you're stamping, it's good to stamp off. Do a bit of second generation. So second generation, you don't reapply the ink to your block, and it means that you get a lighter colour. And if you rotate, you get a different look. So I'm just going to do a little bit up there, little bit there to echo the roundness of the cogs. So the next bit I want to do is this stamp. So I've got the nature definition, which is lovely. I always like to have a little bit of text in my backgrounds, and again, stamp off. It's just very subtle in the background. It's not there to draw the eye, it's not there to be the main feature. It's just about, you see. So there's one more background thing I want to do with this when I have stamped my main focal image. So we're going to come in and do the same with this. And we said Kitsch Flamingo is going to be our main colour. So we've got our stenciling, we've got our ink, not ink, splatters, we've got our coffee rings. And I'm going to kind of rotate this so that I've got part of the coffee ring round that stenciled image, and I've stamped off second generation in that corner there. Little bit here, and then I think that maybe no, that is all I'm going to do with that. That can come off and go back on the carrier sheet. You will find that the quality of these stamps with the magazines is not as good as if you were buying direct from the brand. I think brands do have most of their stamps made in the UK. There is a company, and I forget the name of them now, but the magazines, you know, to keep the cost down, these stamps are manufactured in China. and they're not as good. They use silicone rather than photopolymer. I mean, they're perfectly adequate, but yeah, sometimes you do get spreading on solid images. So what we want to do now is, I don't need you just now. What we want to do now is the nature. Just inking that up. I'm going to have on there like that. And I've let the stamp make contact with the paper, so I've got a better chance of getting a crisper image. A little bit of nature there, actually. Because this watercolour paper is a bit bumpy, you do need to press and use a little bit of pressure. And I like to do an odd number of things, so I'm just going to go there with that. I think that's all I'm going to do with that, you know, because I've got, as I say, we're going to do it on both of them. I have got another little background stamp that I want to add that's just going to bring the whole thing to life a little bit. Now I'm going to use this bird, and I'm going to use my stamp platform because I really do not want to make a mess of this after all the effort of this is the second time I've done this. So right, let's put our first piece in. And one of the reasons that I'm using my stamp platform, apart from the fact that I'm worried that I'm going to mess things up, I'm using distress ink in distress oxide ink in scorched timber, and I might not get a very good stamp the first time. So actually I'm not quite happy with where that is. So I know that if I'm using my stamp platform, I can go back in and re-ink. Sorry, this is turning out to be quite a long video, but I'm hoping that you're finding all of my little hints and tips and tricks for stamping and creating layered pieces interesting. It is a beautiful morning. I've got to go into town, but I've left it a bit too late to walk. Might walk this afternoon. I've got to go into town twice, actually. I'm going in this morning to run an errand, and then I'm meeting a friend this afternoon for a cup of tea, which would be nice. You see, that is beautiful. And one of the reasons I've gone with the brown rather than black is that it's just much softer. And it's nice that this is kind of the bird's grounded, but I might just do a little bit more, go in with a brush to ground the bird a bit more. So you can go to one side. Let's make sure we've got you the right way up. And I also find with my stamp platform, if I'm using, if I use sticky grid with the Tim Holtz platform, I think the, if you've got one of the other makes, I forget what they're called now, Minty, is it? They've got like a foam or felt background, whereas this is plastic. It's magnetized plastic. And because this is a square, I'm going to set this in the middle, or roughly in the middle, and come in again with my scorched timber. Beautiful. You can come off there, but we'll put you in your packet in a minute, and then we're just going to come in with the final little touch now. So for this one, I've got you get a single star and you get a medium and a teeny tiny star that are joined together, and I've just arranged them on a small block. And again, it doesn't matter if these aren't perfect, but I'm just going to come in and add a bit of interest. And again, if you rotate and stamp off, it just adds a little bit more interest. I'll have you there. And I think that is all I want to add with that. As I say, I might come in and just ground that bird a little bit more. And then on this one, let's just make sure we haven't got any pumice stone on there. Give you a little bit of a wipe. We're going to come in with the Kitsch Flamingo and add our little star cluster. And because this is bigger, I can probably afford to do 5. We'll do one more just there. There we go. A final little touch, which I'll do off camera. I'm going to go around the edge of each of these with a black Sharpie pen, or maybe even a brown actually. Yes, I'll go with a brown Sharpie pen, just to add a frame, and then I'll show you the finished bits in a minute. So here I am, just a few minutes later. I've gone around the edge of each of these images with a dark brown Sharpie pen. Black would be too harsh, and I'm really happy with this. I did also, just because it is a greetings card, I put this sentiment, stamped this sentiment in scorched timber again. Time has a wonderful way of showing us what really matters. And then I finished my art club page, and again I went round the edge with the black Sharpie, and this will sit really nicely in my little album. And I've just found a Tim Holtz clipping to help ground this bird a little bit more, learning to fly. So I hope that you've enjoyed this rather long tutorial. Please do comment, as always. Let me know what you think. What are you going to have a try at? What have you learnt? What's a new technique for you? Please do let me know. Take care, everybody. I'll be back very soon. Oh, and if you want to take part in the art club, I'll be pulling for the new prompt on the 20th. I think it's the 17th today, and hopefully this will go up today. And yes, I'll be pulling for a new prompt. Anybody can join in. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to send me anything. But if you want other people to see your work, just use the hashtag which I'll put on the screen. Do take care, everybody. Bye now.